Hi Jenny, hi Marna, hi Teres, how are you all?
Good, thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Hi everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
So I can see that our students are still joining us. So I'm going to wait for a few more seconds so that we can have most of them here before we start the webinar.
That's pretty good.
Yes. I believe it's good to go now. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Coast Mountain College and MSM, I would like to welcome you all to the CMTN Fall Info Session for 2020. I'm Karishma Chaudhary, Manager Canada at MSM. First of all, I would like to congratulate you all for making such a wonderful decision to choose CMTN for your future studies. Choosing a right college in Canada is a very big decision and an important investment also in your future. Well, CMTN was known as Northwest Community College when it was established in 1975. It is a post-secondary institution that serves 34 communities across the Northwest region of British Columbia, and 21 of these communities are First Nations. Coast Mountain provides an opportunity to students to study, work, and play in one of the most spectacular places of Earth, which is rich in heritage and culture. It offers varied programs such as college assist programs, health and human services program, university credit program, state foundation program. It also offers online programs and innovative and flexible mobile training, reaches students beyond its campuses. CMTM together with MSM is happy to have you all here for an hour of ultimate knowledge-oriented session. I would like to emphasize today's webinar is going to be very interesting and informative. So please keep connecting throughout the webinar so that you don't miss anything. Well, before we get to the exciting part, I would like to let you know that we are having, a Q&A section in the control panel and also a chat section. So if you are having any questions related to CMTN, so don't hesitate to drop it in Q&A section in your control panel. And if you are having any kind of technical questions, then please drop it into the chat box. I know everyone is curious and interested to learn more about CMTN. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Ms. Jenny Lim, Manager Student Recruitment at CMTN. Jenny, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Charisma. Thank you for this opportunity for us to speak. Coast Mountain College team members here on board with me. So before I introduce them, I would just like to acknowledge the territory that we are in right now. So we would like to begin by acknowledging the Tsimshian people of Kitsim-Kalen, especially the Lakibua Wet Wudiwai, on whose unceded traditional territory this section will take place. All campuses of Coast Mountain College serve 7 First Nations in Northwest British Columbia. So they are Haida, Tsimshian, Nisga'a, Haisla, Gitxsan, Wet'suwet'en, and Tahltan, and acknowledging the traditional and tribal territory that all campuses reside on. So without further ado, I just want to introduce myself and I'll introduce my team here. So my name is Jeannie Lim. I'm the Acting Director of Student Recruitment. I'm here with my team member, Myrna. If she can wave, you guys can see her. Okay, and then we have Teresa here. Perfect, and I'm not sure if you guys can see Scott, but he is on board with us and I will invite him, which is our Director of Student Success and Recruitment. He's gonna say a really quick hi to you guys as well. So this section is basically focused on those students who already got accepted in Coast Mountain College for the fall 2020 intakes. And we have a lot of information and update to share with you. So this section is recorded as well. So make sure you have a pen and notebooks or papers that you write down all the important things that you need to know today. And if you have any questions for us, go ahead and ask us on the chat box. My team member will help to answer you while we are giving the presentations. All right, so without further ado, I will pass the time to our Director of Student Success and Recruitment. His name is Scott, and I will invite him on board. Over to you, Scott, if you can hear me.
Thank you, Jeannie. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Scott Gust, and I am the Director of Student Recruitment and Success at Coast Mountain College. I join Jeannie in acknowledging that Coast Mountain College is a place where we work and study on the traditional and sometimes unceded lands of First Nations people of Northwest British Columbia. I'd like to commend you for joining us this evening. I'm particularly pleased that you get this chance to speak with Jeannie and Myrna and Teresa. I think it's very important for me as the director to let you know we're working very hard in anticipation of the beginning of the fall semester. We're working hard particularly to ensure that your educational goals are met during your time at Coast Mountain College. Our faculty is working very hard to ensure that their pedagogy is adapted to the distributed learning environment in ways that are consistent with best practices and most effective for student learning. Our entire college is focused towards the success and safety of students during this difficult time. And I acknowledge that many of you may be in places or affected with your families in the COVID pandemic. We wish you all the very best for your health and safety as you join the Coast Mountain family as new incoming students in fall semester or in January semester of this year. It's a pleasure to speak to you all. Please listen very closely to what Jeannie and Myrna and Teresa have to say. They are outstanding professionals in the international education field. Thank you so much for your attention. Jeannie, back to you.
Perfect. Thank you, Scott. I'm so glad my team member and we are here. We are going to share important, valuable information that most of you would like to know and want to know and have been waiting to hear from us. So please, if you have any questions, please share it on the chat box. We're happy to answer you. And we do have a 20 minutes or 15 to 20 minutes Q&A section after the presentation. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask us, make sure you save your questions to the Q&A section as well. All right, so without further ado, I'm just gonna pass the time to our International Student Advisor, which you will be working closely with. So her name is Myrna. Over to you, Myrna.
Perfect. Thank you, Jeannie, and thank you, Scott. Welcome, everyone. We have lots to get through, so let's get started. All right. Just gonna find here. So we're going to start off with the latest from IRCC, what is going on with study permits and travel. So I just want to point out what we already know. So first of all, we know that studying outside of Canada online is permitted. We know that online studies will not negatively affect a future post-graduation work permit. And as long as it is done with a valid study permit and that you are not completing more than 50% of the program outside of Canada. So for those of you that are planning on beginning your program outside of Canada, we do hope in the future that you will be able to make it over to Canada and finish your program in Canada so that you can meet that requirement. We know that study permit applications will remain open until all necessary documents are received. So they won't close any applications that have anything outstanding. We are well aware that biometrics are currently, everyone's waiting for them because collection centers are closed at this time. So we are aware of that, and also IRCC is aware of that, and they will not penalize your application. They will be kept open until everything is received. So that's what we know so far and the latest updates on that. Now, this is very important because I've been receiving a lot of inquiries about traveling to Canada at this time. So I just want you to be aware of the latest travel advisory updates from the Canadian government so that you can make that informed decision. And first of all, I want to point out that the foreign travel ban has been extended to July 31st, 2020. And also the Quarantine Act has been extended to August 31st of this year. Now, the Quarantine Act is that mandatory 14-day self-isolation period if you are to enter Canada. So those dates I want you to keep in mind. Now, who is exempt from this travel ban? So those of you that have been approved for a study permit on or before March 18th, you are exempt from this travel ban. However, you must prove that your purpose of travel is essential to the Canadian Border Services Agency officer, so we call them CBSA. So you have to prove that your travel is essential. So in the case that your program delivery is available fully online, which most of your programs are, and there is no requirement for you to be physically on campus, this may not be seen as essential to the CBSA officer. So those are some things you need to think about. You can have all of the supporting documents, but at the end, it is ultimately up to the CBSA officer whether they deem you entrance to the country or not. And then those of you that have been approved for a study permit, but after March 18th, at this time, you are not exempt from the travel ban. So traveling is not welcomed if you fit this category at this time. And I will come back to this travel advisory piece in just a couple of slides here, but just being very mindful of time because there's lots of information to cover. I do apologize if I'm moving a bit quickly, but it's just because I want to cover all the information. And of course, like Jeannie mentioned, there's plenty of time, hopefully time to address your questions and concerns afterwards. I do want to also update you what you can expect from Coast Mountain College in the fall. So as you may know, most institutions, including Coast Mountain College, are moving towards a distributed learning mode. And this is college-wide. So I just want to talk a little bit about distributed learning. So basically it is other ways of learning and instruction that don't involve face-to-face interaction. So these are, or examples can include video conferencing, live lecture sessions, simulations, and anything that, online learning, basically. So that's the direction that we are heading in for the fall semester. And as you know, some programs will also be available for international students to take outside of Canada. And these include the Business Administration Program, the University Credit Program, Social Service Worker Program. Unfortunately, programs at this time like trades and educational advisor, early childhood education, these are restricted to in Canada only at this time. For a program like trades, there is that requirement where you have to be on campus physically because you're working with materials. And because we want to be mindful of our local government mandate where we have to social distance, the enrollment numbers need to be small at this time. So we just need to be mindful of that. But I believe for the majority of you in the audience today, you have been accepted to the business program and the university credit program, and that's amazing. And so just know that those programs are available online to take outside of Canada. I also want to bring to your attention, if you are choosing to start your program online, to be prepared for some synchronous sessions in your coursework, and there may be some flexibility for asynchronous sections as well. So synchronous means that you are on the same time as the instructor. So you need to be prepared on Canadian time. Now, I know that instructors are working extremely hard right now to make sure that their courses are accessible to everyone, and keeping in mind that they will be having students, outside of Canadian Pacific time. So for the purpose of registration, I just want everyone to be aware that there will be that expectation to be on Canadian time. But hopefully down the road, it will be up to your instructor and they will create that course so that you can access it. And then I also want to talk about Brightspace really quickly, because that is going to be the main platform that the college will be using so that everyone can access their courses. I was hoping to show a screenshot of what the hub or the dashboard would look like, but unfortunately I could not get that organized just in time for this presentation. But rest assured, Towards the beginning of the semester, there will be some tutorials on how to navigate Brightspace so that you're successful, you know where to access support, your logins work correctly, and making sure all of those things are familiar to you before you actually begin your learning, because that's really important. We don't want any failure with logins on the first day of class, because that wouldn't be good. So we're hoping, and probably part of the orientation, that you're familiar with Brightspace and how to access it. I also want to point out that staff are continuing to work remotely. So you can see that I'm working from home. Jeannie is also working from home. Scott's working from home. Teresa's working from home. So at this time, we just want to, again, be mindful of that social distancing on campus. So we are doing our best to support everyone through the comfort of our home. And just know that we are still here, and I've been getting lots of emails. I'm emailing students every day. We're available via email or phone call, or even if you want to arrange like a video conference, we are still actively supporting students right now. And one more thing I want to emphasize is that there seems to be this presumption that, you know, just because you're in Canada means that you can go through with face-to-face learning. But all Coast Mountain College students are going to be in distributed learning mode for the fall semester. So it doesn't matter if you're in Canada or if you're in the Philippines or in India, everyone will be partaking in online learning. So I just want to make that clear. Okay, so it looks like we are ready for our first poll question. I'll read it aloud so that everyone understands the question, and then I will also read the options that you can select. So if I could just get the team maybe to start to pull up the first poll question. So if you can see on your screen, due to the pandemic, what are your two major concerns for fall 2020 term at this point? You can choose two. So choose two of your major concerns. Worried about taking courses online outside of Canada, unable to travel to Canada due to travel bans, uncertain about course planning and future study plan, worried about the availability of online learning support, technical and internet issues, limited Wi-Fi access, for example, financial issues, or others. So you can choose two. And we'll give you, I think there's a timer there, 40 seconds to make your selections. Thank you. Okay. Just looking at our results here. Okay, maybe just a couple more seconds to get the results in. Right, so it's looking like unable to travel to Canada due to travel bans and worrying about taking courses online outside of Canada. Okay. So this is good to do just so we can see how students are feeling at this time. We want to hear your concerns because that will also help us shape what to expect for the fall too. So this is very helpful. Okay, thank you. Poll is closed. Perfect. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I would like to move on to the second poll question. So if we could launch the second poll question. Okay, so given that you are able to take online courses at your home country for the fall term, you'd prefer to remain in your home country and take online courses, or still travel to Canada and take online courses in Canada? Okay, so the results looking like still wants to travel to Canada and take online courses in Canada. Yes, all very eager to travel to Canada. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Okay, thank you, team. I am going to now proceed with the rest of the presentation, and then when we get to our next poll question, we'll pull that up for you. Thank you very much. Okay. All right, I'm just going to, I think I can just minimize this. Not sure. Sorry, everyone. I'm just going to move that down there. I'm not really sure if I can X out of there at the moment, but I will just carry on with the presentation. Right. I want you to all be aware of some challenges you may face if you wish to come to Canada during this time of COVID-19. It's really important that you know what you the possible risks at this time. So you may encounter some pre-screening at your departing airport. I know that I've heard just in conversation, someone wants to come to Canada, they have all of their supporting documents, they get to the airport and the airline asks questions, they want to see that those documentations, and there's a phone call that goes to the Canadian Embassy. Now, I'm not speaking for all airports, but just be prepared that you might endure some sort of pre-screening before you even leave your country. So just be prepared for that. And I also want to emphasize that, again, it's not a guarantee that you will get entrance to Canada. So you could have all of the supporting documents, including a supporting letter from the institution. But at the end of the day, CBSA will make that ultimate decision. And to add to that, they also need to see and be satisfied with your 14-day quarantine plan. So you need to present it, and they need to be happy with it and convinced that you are going to be, you've made those proper arrangements and you follow the criteria. If they're not satisfied with your quarantine plan, you may face an alternate arrangement made either by CBSA or the airport, and this will not be in your control. So there's that's something you also need to be aware of as well. And to add on with quarantine, this can incur extra costs. So I do not have the information about what kind of alternate quarantine plan CBSA may have for you, but just be prepared for costs like hotel or taxi transportation, the food that you're going to be eating during that quarantine period. You may not be permitted to leave that place of quarantine, so just making those arrangements. And at this time, cash payments are very limited. A lot of establishments are encouraging card payment at this time. So with credit card or bank card. So just these little things, these little logistics that you need to be aware of as well. So some challenges that you may face coming to Canada. And it's our job to make sure that you're aware of all of these possible risks so you can make that informed decision. Okay. All right, ooh, we're already at poll question number 3. So if we could get poll question number 3, if possible. I'm not sure if I can navigate that. Perfect. Okay. When you find out some potential risks to travel to Canada with limited housing options, possible entry refusal, you will still travel to Canada no matter what, or consider not to travel until it is safer and you receive future notice. So knowing all of these potential risks, what do you choose to do? Are you still choosing to travel to Canada at this time, or consider and maybe begin your program online? And if it's safer to do so, then plan some travel. Oh, very close, very interesting. Thank you, everyone. Just get a few more results in, I think. Okay. I think everyone submitted their result. Oh, very close. .89% voted. Okay, so if you haven't submitted your answer now, now's the time. Okay, thank you. All right. Considering not to travel until it is safer. Okay, right. Thank you everyone for that. Again, I'm just going to, I'm not sure. If someone from the team, am I able to X out of this poll on my screen? Could I get someone maybe from N Square? Is it all right to exit from this?
I think you
Full
can just
screen?
minimize it, Myrna. Just
Okay,
using.
sure. You know what, I'm just gonna pull it on. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, and let's continue on. All right, fall registration. So for new incoming international students, first term course registration is done through the International Student Advisor, which is me, and it is completed by the registrar's office. So this is really important because we do get those inquiries like, we're ready to register, how do I register? Your first term is always done through the International Student Advisor, because we need to make sure that that study permit approval is on your file. And we just want to make sure that we're putting you in the right courses. When you get into your second year, you have that flexibility of registering in your courses on your own with the guidance of an educational advisor. But for the first term, it's done through the International Student Advising Office. So I have reached out to quite a number of you already that have been approved for study permit. And what I do is I email you your course plan, and it's an attachment, and it's really important that you read your course plan and that you see your first term courses and what the scheduling is like, just so that you're aware, you know, of what you're registering in. And then once you have read that and acknowledged it, you reply back to me that you agree to those courses. And when I get that authorization from you, I forward it on to our registrar's office and they complete the registration. And you will get an email from them saying that you have been officially registered for your 2020 fall term. And then you can access your My Coast Mountain account. You can see your scheduling, and I highly, highly recommend you check your My Coast Mountain account when you have been registered for your courses to keep an eye on your scheduling, because it may be subjected to change, and just so that you're aware of the Canadian time, because like I said, you have to be prepared to be on those synchronous times with your instructor. So I just want to point out that this was our process even before COVID-19, and we required that you have a study permit approval before registering for courses. And at this time, we're continuing to follow that policy. So we are still requiring a study permit approval. I know lots of you are eager to register in your courses, but I ask you that you don't email us ready for course registration. Myself or Teresa will reach out to you when we are ready to register you, because we have a list of students who have been approved for a study permit already. And so we're working on that course registration for them first. I want to talk about quickly what happens if your study permit gets refused from IRCC between now and before your program starts. So I just want to point out again that approvals are not guaranteed by IRCC. So you can make the application, you can pay the fee, you can get the biometrics done, but ultimately IRCC makes that decision whether you get a study permit or not. In the case that you get refused a study permit, you have two options. So you can defer to the next intake, and then in that meantime, you can reapply for IRCC. They'll usually state a reason why you were refused. So for whatever reason, you may want to submit the appropriate documents, and then you can defer to the next intake. Or you can request a refund of your tuition deposit. It's a $200 administration fee will be kept from your tuition deposit. And if you're going to choose this option, you must send proof of the refusal. And I put the international@coastmountaincollege.ca email there for you. That is where any study permit approvals or refusals go. And it's really important you remember your student number. And in the subject line, you can put study permit refusal, and then a detailed explanation of your situation. What if I'm waiting for a decision on my study permit? So for now, like I mentioned before, we are working on course registration for those whose study permits are approved. Now, maybe towards the end of the month, we will look at for those that have at least applied for their study permit, and then we will consider course registration towards the end of the month. So I don't want you emailing that you have proof that you've applied for study permit. We will reach out asking for this proof. So at this time, we're just working through registration for those that have their study permits approved. So I encourage you to check your email towards the end of the month, especially when we will be requesting this proof that you have applied, at least applied for your study permit. But please do not send it at this time. Thank you. Okay. If you decide to register without a study permit decision. So some things you also need to be aware of. When we come to that point where we're asking for proof that you've applied for study permit, and if you want to proceed with registration without having that decision, here are some things you need to also consider and be aware of. So you need to be aware of that the duration of time spent studying without a valid study permit will not count towards a post-graduation work permit in the future. So if you do semester without a valid study permit, that time spent without a valid study permit will not count. So that's something you need to be aware of. And then also, you might no longer be entitled to the tuition deposit refund if your study permit gets refused after stable enrollment. So that's 10 days into your program. So from September, the beginning of September, I think it's September 8th, classes start, and then 10 days, and then you get a refusal, say in October, you may not be entitled to that tuition deposit anymore because you've already begun your studies with us. But just remember that you can still study online outside of Canada. So if you do get that refusal, we're not asking you to immediately withdraw from those classes that you've been taking. You can still finish them, but you may just need to think about what your future plans are in regards to your future post-graduation work permit and your status with IRCC as well. Okay, poll question number 4, if we could please get that ready. Thank you. Poll question number 4. Maybe while we're waiting for it to come up on the screen, knowing that the time spent outside of Canada without a valid study permit will not count towards a post-graduation work permit. Would you begin your studies outside of Canada without a study permit? Yes or no, I want to wait till my study permit is approved for fall registration. Okay. Okay, so it seems most of you want to wait for that decision from IRCC. Okay, and close, 78% voted. If you haven't submitted your option, please do so now. Okay, we're getting there. Right, 86%. No, we'll wait till my study permit is approved for fall registration. Okay, now's your chance. If you haven't submitted your option, please do so now. Oh, we've closed it. Okay. Right. Thank you very much for that, everyone. I think there's about 2 more poll questions left in the presentation. Right. Thank you very much, team. Okay. Oh, we've got the next one actually. Sorry, this one's back to back as well. We've got our poll question number 5, so we can get feedback from our students. If we could get that question ready. Given that your online courses are synchronous, which involves live webinars, how comfortable are you taking courses on Canadian time? So 1 being extremely not comfortable, to 5 very comfortable. So choose your comfort level on taking courses on Canadian time. Okay. Okay, looks like we're getting close. 87% voted. If you haven't submitted your choice, please do so now. Okay. So it looks like some neutral comfort level, right? Okay, I think that's everyone. Okay, thank you very much. Perfect. I'm just going to move this below here. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I just kind of want to summarize all the points I've made, and I've kind of made 3 categories here where you can identify yourself or which category applies to you according to your study permit status. So the first category I have is I have been approved for my study permit. So here are some things you need to remember and to think of going ahead. You need to make sure that you have sent us a copy of your study permit approval. If you have not done so, please do so right away, and that way we can get you registered in courses. Read your course planning and make sure you send that authorization back to us so that we can complete your registration process. Without course authorization, we cannot complete that process for you. So it's really important that you respond back to that email. And then going forward, just familiarize yourself with your My Coast Mountain account. Make sure you know where to access your timetable, your courses, any fees outstanding. Just make sure you know how to navigate it, because it will be very handy for you, especially if you're going to be beginning your program online outside of Canada in the fall. The next category I have is I have applied for my study permit, but waiting for a decision. Whether it's due to biometrics or for whatever reason, you're still waiting for a decision. I think this is where our majority of our students might be in at this time. So at this point, we are unable to register you, but just be prepared for some sort of proof that you have applied for your study permit. Like I said before, do not send it to us at this time. We will reach out to you when we are requesting it to proceed with registration. So again, check your email. I'm going to be reminding you at the very end of this presentation to check your email and making sure that your email address is correct with us. And then if you have not applied for your study permit, I highly encourage you to apply now, and you can apply online. And just remember that online applications will remain open until everything is received. So anything outstanding, you will not be penalized. I know with biometrics, there's an extended 90 days from the deadline, so it will just keep extending until you can get those submitted. UC is well aware of all of the biometric centers being closed at this time. What should I do now? So again, back to the email addresses, make sure it's up to date and that you check it regularly. So if you have not heard any correspondence in the past few months, it's probably because we have not we don't have the up-to-date email address on file. I know that sometimes students use different email addresses when they first apply, and if they use an agent, there's a different email address that's used. So make sure that you check your junk email and check all of those possible email addresses if there's any mail in them. And then I need you to choose one that you can communicate with us and that you don't miss those important updates in the future. So it's really important that we're all on the same page with your email address. You can contact international@coastmountaincollege.ca to just verify that we have the correct email address on file. And I also want you to just think ahead for the technology requirements if you are going to be beginning your program online outside of Canada. And just make sure that you're prepared for any live sessions as well on Canadian time. So just make sure you make those arrangements so that you're successful on your end. And of course, on our end, we will do everything to make sure you're supported through Coast Mountain College. And then again, when you receive your course planning, please read it, respond to it, and then email us back that you authorize to be registered in those courses. It's really important that you respond back to that email. Otherwise, we won't be able to register you in courses, and then those courses will start to fill up. So that is also very important. Okay, getting close to the end here, everyone. With all of this information that I've provided to you, you can make that informed decision. If you still, with knowing all of the risks and challenges that you may face coming to Canada at this time during COVID-19, I advise you to let me know of your travel plans because we need to make sure that, of course, you're safe. And if you are successful coming to Canada, we need to make sure that you're covered with health insurance. So with new international students, there's an insurance policy that we enroll our international students through GuardMe. So it's important that you're covered for health insurance as well. And especially in this time of COVID-19, we just want to make sure we know where everyone is and that they're safe. I know that before COVID-19, we didn't really have this sort of tracking when people were coming to Canada or not, but considering the current global pandemic, we just want to make sure everyone's safe too, and just aware of who's trying to travel, and then also who's staying in their home country. So any travel plans at all with all this information provided, please let me know. And I want to leave on a positive note as well, because I don't want to make it sound like we don't want you to come to Canada. We want you to come to Canada, of course, and we want you to experience what Coast Mountain College has to offer. But during this current climate, unfortunately, we have to consider the travel restrictions and everyone's safety as well. But just something to think about if you are, carrying on with starting your program online in your home country. Just think that you're the first international cohort to be in distributed learning mode. So that's something to, I think, to be proud of. And, when that day comes that you can finish your program in Canada, you can look back and say, I started my program actually back in my home country, and you went through this whole process. So I give my hat to you for those of you that are going to be beginning your program outside of Canada. And we value your application and your desire to study with us. Like I said, we'd love for you to come. We just want you to be aware of all the possible challenges at this time in regards to travel. And I'm hopeful that there will come a time when it is safe to come to Canada, and then we'll welcome you, and I think it'll be great. But for now, we need to be mindful of the COVID-19 situation. So finally, I just want to leave off with our email addresses and where to send what. So just to remind you, international@coastmountaincollege.ca for any study permit approval or refusals. And then if you want to just verify that we have the correct email address. You can send an email to myself for any other inquiries if you're in a very unique situation, and any future travel plans, please advise me of that. And then I also want to point out Teresa. She is also going to be working with me with course registration. So I just put her name there and her email address. She supports the recruitment team too. So, oh, there she is. And she'll be helping me out too. So that's just another name that I want you to be familiar with. Okay, time for me to stop talking. I apologize, but I hope at this time we can welcome some questions. And I just thank you all for your time today. I know it's the morning time, but yeah, let's hear what you have to say and your concerns. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Marna, for such a great, presentation. I believe after, having this presentation, students are having a very much clarity about now what they need to do and what they don't. And yes, but we are having questions with us from the students, and now we will be taking a few questions out of them. And this, again, a reminder for all the students, if you are having any question still, then please don't feel hesitated to put it in Q&A section. Only in Q&A section, not in the chat box, right? So, we are coming to the first question. Because of this particular thing, Marna, the students are taking deferment, or they are not able to join who were supposed to join in May, and still few students are pending with their study approval results. So meanwhile, if their IELTS score get expired, then what is the will they going to face any kind of a problem while getting registered to CMTN, or while traveling to Canada?
Okay. Jeannie, I'm wondering if you could address this question in regards to IELTS scores expiring?
Yeah, so the IELTS score, are you saying IELTS score for traveling? Or is it applying for study permit?
I'm asking it for both. Firstly, for the not for the study permit, because they maybe they might have recently applied for the study permit, but the decision is still pending. Or there might be few students who might have got the approval before 18th of March, who were not able to travel earlier. Meanwhile, when they get enrolled for the September or the January intake, if their results get delayed, then will they face any kind of problem in getting registered to CMTN? Or when they will be traveling to Canada, is there any possibility they face any kind of problem at the airport while the documents will be getting checked?
Yeah. So when you're entering the border officer will not look at your IELTS result or any English proficiency test. There are certain documentations that CBSA, which is the Canadian Border Officer, will be looking at. So usually it's your letter of acceptance, right? And your valid study permit to enter. And of course your TRV, which is temporary resident visa, or ETA. For most of our students in India, you will be getting TRV, which is temporary resident visa, which is like the sticker thing, like we call it visitor visa, the sticker thing on your passport. So that is called TRV. So basically they're looking at your TRV, the sticker thing on your passport. They need a copy of your study permit approval letters and LOA, because they will be asking you, why are you here in Canada? So you need to provide them a study permit. And of course, if they need extra documents, they will be asking for that. That will be maybe like bank statement and all that kind of thing. That has nothing to do with your English proficiency test. Your English proficiency test is mostly for you to apply for the program to the college. It's nothing to do with the border officer or the immigrations, right? So yeah, so if your IELTS is expired, but you already got accepted by the college, then that's good. When you're entering Canada, you don't need to worry about your expired English proficiency result. I hope I answered that questions.
Yes, Jenny, thank you so much. Moving to our next question is about if the student start their program online for the September intake, and in between the flight starts, would they able to travel, and what is the suggestion from the CMTN? Should they travel, or they should wait for the first semester to be complete in their home country only?
So I would say just we need to make sure that it's safe for students to come to Canada. So if they have started their program online in their home country, and then travel restrictions do lift, where say all those documentations aren't required anymore, then I don't see why not students can try to come to Canada and then make their arrangements back into their campus. But that's something that we need to monitor very, very carefully. So at this time, we aren't advising any travel, But of course, you know, if the situation improves with travel, then we will have a closer look at that situation towards whether it's going into the semester or not.
Okay, Maina. But I believe, Maina, if they start the online, classes for the first semester, in any case, they will be studying the whole semester online only. Or if there are any chances that in between it may happen, they should also come across the face-to-face classes.
So my understanding is Coast Mountain College is preparing for the entire fall semester to be distributed learning. So I don't anticipate halfway through the semester where everyone will all of a sudden be required to be face-to-face. So I know that the college as a whole is planning for the semester to be planned as distributed learning.
Okay. So yeah, the complete semester will be, online. So you have to take a decision, students, that what is the situation at that particular time and from where you can, continue your studies safely. So that is a decision which you need to make at that particular situation, and you have to analyze. And if you will be having any kind of doubt at that particular time, please, contact us, the India team or the international team, to answer your questions. Moving to our next question, just imagine if the student is not willing to continue right now and they are not having even the refusal because of the current situation, they are not feeling it safe to continue their study abroad, and they change their mind and have already made the tuition deposit. What options are there for that particular students? How we can proceed in that particular situation if he is looking for a refund without applying for the, either for the study permit, or he have not received any result as of now?
So I'll pick that question. So basically, if students are not feeling comfortable to start the semester without having a study permit and they're still waiting for it, and the situation actually got worse, right? They can actually request to defer to the next semester if there's still seats available for the next semester. So for example, if the class is gonna start September 4th, and they are still waiting, so it's really close to September 4th, and they're still not getting any response from RRCC, which means the Canadian immigrations, then they can request to defer their semester. Now, I do see a lot of questions popping up. We probably have no where to go to like all the questions right now. So we will try our best to answer as many questions as possible. If not, please email Myrna again, or the international email, like international@coastmountaincollege.ca email. And some of the questions are really personal and individual just for your case. So I wouldn't answer here in general. You please email Myrna and Myrna will help you in person.
Thank you, Jenny. Okay, and there are a few students who are asking whether their program is online or not. We will be sending you the email regarding that, and please stay connected with the newsletter which we are already sharing with you, because that is having a lot of information in that. Okay,
correct.
So again, a question regarding the online teaching, because I came across that there are students who are reluctant to go for the online teaching. Somewhere they are having some kind of doubts in their mind whether they would be able to, have that much impactful learning or not. Do you like to tell something what arrangements CM2N is doing, and how, because I am pretty sure that student will be having no trouble even in the online classes. So what kind of, classes, how they will be getting it?
Yeah. So I think we expect students to at least have the technology requirements and to be prepared for being on Canadian time. And then what Coast Mountain can offer, I know that our team is working really hard on the platform Brightspace, so that any support, even like learning support, is accessible on Brightspace. And I know that our learner services team, like, we want to produce an area where students can access that with no problem. Any questions they need with their learning, they will have that support there. And then I'll address too with in regards to course materials. I know that instructors are really working hard to go in the direction of electronic materials, which would be very helpful. So you wouldn't have to worry about ordering textbooks this time around, but that is ultimately up to the instructor and their choice. But I know there is a big push for electronic materials. And even virtual labs too. So I just want to emphasize that instructors are working hard to make sure that their courses are accessible to everyone at this time.
Thank you, Marna. Coming to our next question. Is there any possibility that to extend the to extend the date of start attending the classes for September intake for those students who get their result a few days, after the semester intake started, which is the 8th of September. If just imagine student get the approval on 15th of semester, 15th of September, would be able to have those students online if they want to start it?
That's a good question, actually. Jeannie, I'm not sure if you have any feedback for that one.
Yeah, so are you saying like getting approval, study permit approval on
Yes.
September 15th? Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
basically we are able to, like students are able to take online classes, right? Like the fall online classes, which is from September to December online outside of Canada. The only documents we want to see is of course your study permit approval letters, and moving closer to the start date, if you're still waiting for your study permit approval, like you're still waiting for the decision, you will need to send us, like what Myrna said earlier, you will need to send us a proof of your study permit applications. You need to show us that you have applied for study permit and still waiting for it. And then we are able to put you in fall classes. So register for you in fall classes. So if your study permit say get in like September 15, and you're able to just send us a copy of the approved letters, and we'll just put it on the system. It won't affect your classes outside of Canada. You'll just continue to, resume your study and continue to take your courses outside of Canada online. And I do want to emphasize that even some of your study permit approved before March 18, 2020, technically as per IRCC, you're able to enter Canada. You're under the travel exemptions, but you still need to prove that your travel is essential. So if all your classes has switched to online, which is distributed learning, it might be a bit tricky for you to prove that why your travel is essential here if you're able to take all courses online. So it is your responsibility to collect all the documentation you need to prove that your essential is, like your travel is essential. However, it is really based on the decision of CBSA, which is the Canadian Border Officer. So they have all the right to check your document and think that this is not a essential travel, right? And they will turn you away at the port of entry, which means they will send you away. They will ask you to travel back to your home country. They're not, so they reject your entry. Right, so we are here, of course, we were very excited to see you. We hope we can see you soon, but because of all this restriction, we actually advise you to actually take your online classes back in your home country if you can, right? Because then you're not able to prove that your travel is essential for the CBSA if all the courses, is offered online. And upon your arrival in Canada, you will need to go through quarantine, 14 days quarantine, and you might need to pay extra costs for your quarantine, like your 14 days quarantine, right? So that is quite a bit of money again. So if you really want to travel to Canada, please speak to Myrna. But if you can take online classes back in your home country, we will recommend you to do so. Our team, our learning services support team are trying to put things together to better help our student visually and all this online support as well. All right.
Thank you, Jenny. Now moving to the next question, what would be the mode of the final examination for the first semester? I repeat my question. What would be the mode of examination for the, first semester final exams? Would that be conducted online only completely?
So again, that will be up to the instructor. I think examinations will be addressed as we get more clarity on how instructors will be designing their courses, but that will be up to the instructor how they're going to deliver that. There may be some flexibility for online examination, but I think at the end of the day, it will be up to that specific instructor for that specific course. I'm not sure, Jeannie, if you have any additional information about examination at this time.
I think it's up to the instructor how they want to run their courses, whether one exam or two midterm exam, or how they want to do the exam. So each courses is actually different. So also keep in mind that I know that it is a challenging time, right, to get on board to travel to Canada, even to start classes online. And many of you are taking online classes, maybe like just for your first time. And the college is actually on the same boat as you. We are facing challenges. We're trying to, work it out for you as well. So thanks for your patience and thanks for your support and all your questions.
Thank you, Jenny. And Jenny, for those students who are not having their final degree certificates and maybe have applied with the provisional certificate only, and they are not, if they're not able to get their degree certificate, original degree certificate due to current situation right now in India, would they able to enroll for the September intake?
So enrolling from September intake, we are not looking for bachelor, certification or anything like that. So once you're accepted in the programs, we already got all the proper documentations from you, right? So the only things that we need to register, like the only documents that we need to register for fall for you is we need a copy of study permit approval letters, right? Or a study permit application. So to show us that you have applied for study permit and you're still waiting for it. And please don't email Myrna like, oh, where is my course planning and all that. So because Myrna has a list and all your name is actually on it if you're accepted to fall. And what Myrna will do, she will reach out to each of you based on the order. So please don't email her, she will get to you. What you need to do is you need to update your correct email address to international@coastmountaincollege.ca so that you will get all the email communication, and include your student number in the email, because if you send us the email address, we wouldn't know who you are and where to update it. We're not able to open your profile on our system. So make sure you have your email address and your student number in the email so Myrna can reach out to you. You don't need to email Myrna. Myrna will reach out to you. What you need to do is, again, update your correct email address and send us your study permit approval letter to the international@coastmountaincollege.ca. If you don't have your study permit approval letter yet, you can send the study permit applications, like to prove that you have applied for a study permit. So that's the two things you need to do. Update your email address and send us your immigration documents.
Okay, thank you, Jenny. Is it possible that if student got the study approval, but he is not willing to go for the online classes because of some reasons, then would we able to defer the student, or a student have to start in September intake only?
So you can defer up to 3 academic terms. So the student has been approved for study permit, but for whatever reason cannot commit to the fall semester. So it is an option to defer to the next intake.
Okay. There's one question coming up regarding so those students who have already got their study permit before 18th of March, they can attend these online classes, and yes, they can travel. They can travel to Canada also if the restrictions will be lifted. Again, the decision have to make by yourself whether it is safe for you to move there or not, because I was getting the questions regarding, for students who have already received study permit. So Here, I believe, yes, we are having a lot of questions, but they are of similar kind. And I believe that we have answered mostly all kind of questions through our presentations and this Q&A section. But still, we will be having all the questions with us after this session as well. And if we find that there is something, need to be updated again to these students, we will definitely get back to all the students on their email addresses. So we will be answering you guys on your email addresses. Apart from this, please stay connected with the newsletters, because they usually have a lot of information for that. We send it to your email ID, and please make sure you keep on operating your email IDs regularly for important emails and such kind of information. Well, before we wind up, I would request Jenny, Marna, if you would like to say, any, closing lines, and Clarice and Scott as well. Any one of you want to address anything to our students?
Well, it's something that came across when we had the Q&A. I just want to also speak on for the study permit processing. Just know that we are also monitoring the study permit processing too. So if, in the next few weeks, approvals start coming in, so we will acknowledge that, and then, we will act accordingly. Like, we will register students accordingly. If they all of a sudden get approved in August, just know that our office is also monitoring what is happening with IRCC and getting the latest updates. So we want to make sure we know what they're doing, and we know that the current right now is in regards to biometrics and biometrics being closed, or the collection centers being closed. So just know that we are also monitoring it and doing our best to make sure that, we're up to date, and that we are thinking ahead as well. So I just wanted to make that clear. But for my end, thank you everyone for attending. I think it's morning in the India region right now, so it's almost 11 o'clock for us here in Canada. But yeah, this was great, and I really hope that we cleared some doubt. I know it's an interesting time right now, but just know that we're here for you. We're here to support you, and we want you to be successful, and don't be afraid to reach out. So that's what I have to say for me. If anyone else wants to.
Perfect. Verna, would you mind to actually go back to the page that has your contact and Teresa?
Oh, yes,
contact?
yes. Of course.
Perfect.
Yep.
All
There
right.
it is for
So
everyone.
just to let you guys know that if you guys are emailing the international email, or to Myrna or Teresa, it usually takes us up to 7 to 10 working days to respond to your inquiry, unless, except it is like super urgent that need our immediate attention, because we are receiving hundreds and thousands emails per day. So if you please don't duplicate or, send us like more than 2 times the same email, because that will confuse the system a bit. So make sure you just email once and just wait for, at least a week for us to respond to your email. And I'm not sure if Scott has some words to say before we go. Just going to pass the time to him.
I want to thank everyone for their contributions. I want to particularly thank students for your questions. I want you to be aware that the Government of Canada continues to look very, very closely at what is the most effective situation for students studying in Canada to achieve their educational goals, while also maintaining the utmost high standards of safety for everyone, right? So there will continue to be updates, right? There will continue to be updates as the Canadian government looks closely at the situations in countries around the world, including, of course, in India, where we stand with you as Commonwealth cousins, right? And these things will continue to develop, and we thank you so much for just tending carefully to what Jeannie and Myrna and Teresa have to say, as they are highly reliable professionals. And thank you, Krishna, for hosting us tonight.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
So, Teresa, would you like to do something?
Yeah, just a big thank you to everyone for joining us tonight. Well, today for you, tonight for us. And yeah, we'll be sending emails just to try to answer all those questions. That it was a lot of questions. We couldn't answer all of them, but yeah, we'll try our best. And as Jeannie said, just email us and we'll be getting back to you, we promise. Sometimes it's not just the next day, but we'll do it. We promise.
Thank you, Teresa. Before I wind up, I'd definitely like to say one thing, that I do understand that VFS is still closed in India, and it's a quite confusing situation for you guys, whether you should, for those who have not still put their file, whether they should go ahead or not. So again, it's a reminder that IRCC is accepting online applications, and their application will remain active for 90 days. It would not be rejected on the basis of incomplete documents or because of the lack of the biometric. So you can go ahead, put your files, online, and wait for VFS to open up. They can that can open up anytime, and at least you will remain ahead of the other students without delaying the process. And you can show that that you have already put your application while giving further requests to the CMG, and whether it is for the deferment or for some other thing, right? Well, wonderful. Thank you for everyone. Thank you everyone for participating in this webinar. I hope the webinar was very informative for everyone, and we really appreciate you being here. And until the next one, please take care and stay safe and stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you.